Hello, welcome back to Jesse's Vintage Garage, and I'm working on a 32E here. It's going to be a total rebuild on this possibly. Definitely make it look better than it does now. First off, we're going to start off by testing it and make sure it has the capability of being rebuilt, or what kind of maybe it's going to be involved. So there's another video I got out where we actually show about how to figure out what kind of generator you have and how to test it and all that stuff. So we're going to kind of do the same sequence, but I'm not going to do that same video all over again right here. So we're jumping ahead. We have it all hooked up. If you want to know how to do all this, check out that video for sure. Otherwise, we want to take the switch and ground it to the case. And then we're going to take the negative jumper cable here from a battery power source, and we're gonna essentially be turning this into a motor, electric motor, kind of like a lawnmower motor, where it's a generator and a lawnmower starter. And we're gonna take the positive here, and we're gonna pretty much touch this terminal here, which is the relay terminal, and then we're gonna see if this thing spins. Yep, it's spinning. So this has good potential of actually generating power when it gets spinning in the motor. So now we're going to work on taking it apart, being careful with all this stuff that's still good in here, and probably put new brushes in and repainting the case, of course, and new bearings, and then cleaning up this commutator end and going forward. So stay here and we'll see how this turns out in the end. So since we tested it and we know that it turns over and it runs, we know that it will act, because it's set it up as an electric motor, it will actually charge going in reverse of procedure. Instead of powering it, we're going to get power from it when it spins. That's what I mean by reverse. Since 32E needs to be rebuilt a little bit, we're going to end up repainting it, taking it apart, replacing the bearings. We're going to leave the armature for sure, I think, because original armatures are built a lot better than reproduction ones are nowadays. They got like real wood in them and stuff, and good components. And we could tell that when this was spinning over, it wasn't hesitating, which I mean by that is like rotating and then coming to a stop and having to give it a help. It just kept going. So that means that there's probably not a problem with the armature connectivity, like between the little pieces in the back here. Little see the grooves there on that copper piece way down in there. Usually when it hesitates, there's a problem with connectivity between those. And anyway, so going forward, we're going to clean this thing up, replace the bearings, which are sealed ones, both front and rear. Low maintenance, too, that way we don't have to worry about oiling them, because you're supposed to oil the original ball bearings every once in a while. But the problem with oiling and greasing those things, the oil can get inside the generator and actually ruin the generator. We'll replace the brushes in the back here with new ones, and new hardware. We'll put new hardware in too as well, and then we're going to put a end cover on it to finish it up and make it look awesome. So let's go ahead and get started. First off, we're going to get some of these screws and stuff soaking so they can actually come apart here. You know, this thing is like 7 years old, so anyways, yeah, let's go ahead and get started here. Well, we started tearing this 32E apart. Probably end up having to go all the way in, because the bearing on the other end, when we got the gear and stuff off, the bearing on the other end doesn't want to like come out nicely. Well, it is right now, kind of. But anyways, we'll see as we go along. I just didn't want to disturb too much of this really nice shaped, soft wiring that's going on here, and maybe we can still get by with not have to go crazy with it. But right now, for sure, I got to pull this end off here to get to the bearing. And this comes out with, this is a bearing holder, so it comes out with it. And the bearing's right there. Lock washer, or actually shim. Then there's the lock washer I took out already. That's right. All right, so yeah, there's a couple shims in here just to get the right position. So it's going to be mostly all the original stuff going back in. I got the new bearings, so I want to make sure that I don't misplace this stuff. So, and you can, it says 3 to 4. You can put these in here, but this one only has like 2 in it. So bearings aren't.
It's all about in play.
Yeah, the bearings aren't in bad shape. It's just that we're going to put low maintenance, not having to go in here and greasing that stuff, because the grease breaks down and it ends up going into the armature and stuff. We don't want that.
Moisture.
Yeah, that too. Collects moisture. So this is the grease guard of the commutator end. And then in here is another spacer. It's all about the end play, like you said a minute ago. Spacer and a thicker spacer. So yeah, we're gonna keep messing with this and keep going forward here. Hopefully we don't break any screws off taking this apart too, as being as old as it is. Someone may have been into this at one time, because these wires are exceptionally soft for being an old 80-year-old generator like this.
Yeah, they're just like really soft.
So, yep. Right, so the bearing here, the inner part hooks into the armature, is seized to it or stuck to it, so I will not be able to get this out this way. And it won't come out the other end because the way that the armature is designed, it hits the brushes back here, and that's bad. So we got to take it back apart. We have to take it apart the rest of the way, and to do so, we have to take out the main body screws here. And hopefully, this one is messed up. So hopefully, these come out without breaking and stuff. Otherwise, we are going to be having a mess here to work on. Okay, well, I think we got these somewhat loose here. This one here was the mangled up one, and I was afraid that the slotted screwdriver wasn't going to get a good positive grip on it. So, but they did move just a little bit, so they should be able to come out. Oops, there we go.
Yep, it's going.
This holds the commutator end to the body.
Pull them?
Yeah, you can. Go ahead. Take that off the back there. Alright, so we're going to take it apart.
The brushes are
we're going to remove the brushes first, otherwise they'll spring out and get all weird. So with removing the armature, this is how we drive out the bearing. We drive out the armature, we pull the bearing out, we replace the bearing, and yeah, it seems like it's in all right condition. Now the shoes here and the pole shoes, there's a groove on the inside of the body that locks it into place here, so you can't like take them out as a whole group here and pull it out without having to take the armature out first. We're not probably going to mess with that if I don't have to. So I'm going to tap on this end and drive it out. Okay. We'll probably clean this up as a unit here because all this wiring is in really good shape. And repaint this black. Polish this up or shine it up as good as I can while not messing with any of this stuff.
Because these tested out good.
Yeah, our armature tested out good too when we were spinning it. It didn't have any hesitation.
We will test each of these just to make sure we don't have any dead ones.
Yep, we'll go over that here in a minute. Because yeah, we want to reuse this nice original armature if we can, because the new ones, reproduction ones, are not like these old ones are. They're not near as good. They come from China, and yeah, it's just you can't have. Yeah, you just can't get the good ones like this anymore. All right, so with testing an armature for continuity through the unit, he's running a positive and a negative on each one of these little lands here. If you get the beep on it, if you get the beep on every single one of these spots, then we know that there's no dead spots.
Whoops. Hold still. Lost it. Wait a minute. That's good.
Yeah, they're way better than the one video we did with the with the armature. We had all kinds of dead spots, and we replaced the armature. But this is good shape, and we're gonna use it, so that's a good sign. Yeah, it's all in good shape. All right, work on putting this together as a group here and get it all cleaned up so we can. And next time you'll see this, we'll have it all repainted and nice aluminum looking. All right, we got the body all repainted black. Looks really nice. It's like an off black. It's not really like super glossy, which they weren't really originally really super glossy. From what I can tell from this generator, we're rebuilding it. This is like a 46 and later generator because it does have, if this is all original, it does have the seal inside there, which was an upgrade in 1946 and later. And if somebody would have had this apart, they would have updated it and put that in there. But it has the metal retaining part of the seal yet, which makes it an old seal. And then we're gonna, oh, the other thing is this. This is not brass. This is zinc. Brass ones are only pretty much brass all the way up to World War II, I mean. And then after that came zinc. And that's just the major parts of this thing. There is a drain hole on the body of this. There it is right there. So it's a good one. There's something to do with that drain hole. I remember when I was working on mine that either not all or some didn't have it.
Earlier ones.
Yeah. And then, so anyways, getting ready to put this all back together. We'll go over the wiring. I didn't really disturb it much, but I'll be able to point out the situation with the wires from the coils. And I'm going to change out a lot of this hardware because I'm going to put some different parkerized pole shoe screws in, main body screws. Terminals to be replaced because this one here is loose. Is it that one or is it this one? That's not good. And then maybe them screws there. But anyway, we'll get ready to go here. All right, we're gonna take this. We're gonna switch out the pole shoe screws here. We're gonna do them one at a time. That way the whole pole shoe doesn't drop and fall out. Then we'll reset them. We use a hand-driven impact to tighten them up. They gotta be really tight. In fact, we might put a little bit of Loctite on it even. We don't want these coming loose. Otherwise, that shoe in there, it's metal, will collide into the into the armature, destroy the armature. So this being a 46 and later 32E, which it could be even later because this has this Type 2 pole shoe screw, which they changed in 1950, 51 or so, because then in 52 the 52E came out. So the Type 1 would have actually had a domed look to it, which are these here. And then in 1950 they stopped that, and then in 51 they introduced this flat top one. So, I mean, we could leave it, but it's going on knucklehead, so I think that we should have it look like a knucklehead one. I think the person that wants me to rebuild this would appreciate that as well. There we are, and we'll just do that to the rest of them here. We loosened them earlier so we could get them out later after we painted it. All right, so we'll use the hand impact here to tighten it up. We used 243 blue Loctite on this. It helps seal against like oil and grease and stuff.
And oil.
Here we are. All right, so I disconnected one of the coils here, And I'm going to kind of talk about the different wiring here. And it's kind of hard to follow because both wires are black and you just got to kind of know which coil's what and which one goes where. And it's kind of hard to explain in wording. But got this nice big Palmer book here. It has a nice documented picture right here talking about it. Okay, so the coil here, it's on the terminals. We're going to go over that one first. Now, this coil here wraps around this side of the body, and I consider this one to be the one that actually I started with all the time. We got one wire going to a positive brush, and then we got the other wire going over to the third brush. So the one, I'm going to look inside the body here, and the one that's closest to the terminals will be the one we want to wire to the brush. So the terminal side is this side here with the tag. So we got this wire that I unhooked was actually attached to the brush, and this other one should be detached also because it's going to the third, right over here. It's going to the third brush. So I can take this out now and actually kind of like mess around because I know where them two go. And I can get in there and fix all this right now before messing with this other side. When they're all removed, it gets to be difficult. You don't want to do that if you don't have to. So on this side shoe, on the closest side to the tag, there's this wire here. That one's going down and loops around and hooks into this one here. And then the other one, is down inside there as well. And it's going over to the other terminal. It jumps around and comes over to here. There's a picture of the print there. You can screenshot this if you want to have your actual document picture. Here we go. I have one of the terminals out already. It kind of comes out as a group. It comes out like this over here. And anyways, it kind of needs to get put back together a certain way. So you got the screw here. Then you get one of these round type bakelite pieces. Stack it on there. Then you can slide it through and push it in that way from this side in. I'm doing it one at a time, that way it doesn't mess with there's little papers in there. Because see, part of this brush holder is positive and part of it's running negative through it. They need to be separated, otherwise they ground out and don't work. If you have it in right, of course the round part sits down inside this little groove here. Then the round washer type just stacks on top there. Like so. Nice lock washer, shake proof washer. It's gonna be a little trick here. Okay, there we go. And then two nice new brass nuts will go on there. And I'll do the same thing to over here as well. Okay, with the commutator end sitting like this, you can see this really well. Of course, we have the terminals coming out. This paper here is insulating this brush holder from touching the body, because this is positive right now and the body's negative. Now over here you can see that this other little L-shaped bracket that kind of comes down and points down this way, that one's isolated again. This one's becoming a negative terminal because it's hooking into this terminal bolt here and going through, but it's isolated again off the positive one. See how that's set up? That's very important, otherwise they would ground each other out. One of these terminals is, of course, a positive terminal, this one, and this one here, of course, is the negative terminal, just by looking at that. Now I'm going to switch this bolt out, and then tighten this up, and then it should lock that L-shaped piece right there that's the negative part, it should lock that from being loose like it was a minute ago. There we go. It's looking better so far. I got these screws switched out here too. They're all rusty and stuff. And our terminals look nice and good. And everything's hooked up right so far. Yeah, we're ready to put the armature in now. And then actually, to do so, we're gonna be working on the bearings next too. So we're gonna put the front one in now and go from there. Here's the front bearing for the generator. It's a 6202 2RZ, and then 2RZ stands for 2 rubber seals, one on each side. And this is a high speed bearing, and it's sealed, of course, so it's gonna be better than our original ball bearing here. It's only had like 7 balls in it. This thing is loaded, loaded with balls in it, and then it's low maintenance. And as much as this thing will be probably operated or even run, this bearing will last a lifetime for it. And it'll be the same kind of bearing for the rear, but the rear is a different size, and that's a 6201 2RSR. Also, it's got 2 rubber seals, and it's a high-speed bearing. They're from FAG, a brand in Germany, one of the best brands of bearings you can get, and it's loaded with rollers in it. So instead of having these just 7 balls in it or whatever, this one had 7 also in a cage. So I mean, these bearings are in good shape. It's just that we're going through the trouble to make this better down the road. Why not put better bearings in it to begin with? And these bearings, I think, were originally USA bearings, but which is made in USA. The original bearings are good. Just I can't believe that there's like no pitting in it. I can kind of feel something, but not really at all. It spins really good. So anyway, whatever. We're going to put sealed bearings in and make it maintenance free. So I got the body pieces together here, and we haven't put the bearing in quite yet, but I'm getting ready to wire this up here. So we got I disconnected the wires from the positive field coil, and we got to hook it up over here yet. So I got the barrier that's on, or the wire that's on the far right side, the closest to the terminal, coming over here to this brush holder, and then I have the other one coming back around and coming to this window here to go to our third brush that's going to hang down right here inside this window, and it'll come in here and touch here, and it'll be adjustable and everything. That's where that one goes. I want to make sure these wires don't come in contact with the armature when it spins around, because it'll just wear a hole in the wire. But I think we're sitting pretty good, and I'll watch that for sure. And you can also help hold them back when you put the main body screws in. But we're going to work on getting the bearing installed right now in the front end. And to do so, it kind of is a tight fit, and you got to kind of press it on a little bit. So we'll do that here. All right, we got the bearing installed here, and I'll work on putting the main body screws in. And then we should be done with this part of it, then we'll work on the other end of it. Here we are. I added some blue Loctite to these as well. We don't want these coming loose. And then slide it on in there. You can see it come through right there. Now if you have the wires you want to hook back and kind of protect, you can hide them in there, but this side doesn't really have them. They're all over here on this hidden one here. I got one looped behind it right now, but otherwise this one's ready to go in. There we go. We'll just tighten them up here. Alright, with the body screws being installed, I'm able to ready to start on this end. So we're going to hook the wires now to our brushes, and then we'll get ready to put third brush on in a little bit. I guess only one wire I can hook up now would be this one here going to the brush, and then put the brushes in. And then the third brush will be later when we get done putting the housing and stuff on. So, and we got the new bearing in the bearing holder.
Clean the shim. There's the old grease.
Yeah, there's the old bearing here. Yeah, anyway, this is about ready to go on now too. Okay, when you're putting the brushes in, you want to make sure that the spring collapses inside the holder, not like all bunched up. It's got to like just compress like this. And then this part here hooks into a little slot built into the holder. And then it gets held together with the screw and the wire there on that end of it. So like so, and pop it in there. It should pop right in there. There it goes. Well, yeah, it's kind of going. There. Just like so. And here's our wire going to the brush. I'll hook that up real quick. Alright, so going forward here, we get the rest of the stuff put in. Remember, right, we've got to put the thick one and the thin one towards the armature. And then it goes the cover here, the cover piece here, and then this piece gets a gasket on it. And you just rotate it till the three holes line up perfect. See, they don't line up there. And then, what's this look like? That there. Okay, let me put a gasket down there, and then it's the bearing holder. Okay, so we can see there's some movement here yet. We do have the bearing installed all the way on the other end, but what happens here is the shim. We said this at the beginning, it's all about the shim and the spacing. So what will happen is when we go to put this next part in, the bearing will sit there, and then when we go to put the new lock washer on and the new hex nut on, it'll pull that armature back and it'll give us our spacing. We have another set of shims to put in, if you remember right, too, on the other side of this bearing. It doesn't really show that in the print very well. They're kind of right here in the picture. It doesn't really point at it. So, but when you're rebuilding them, it talks about it in the book that you could have up to 3 to 6 shims in here to get the right free play. There we go. Now we're ready to put our bearing rotator on. Alright, let's get that lined up and then we'll put our shims on and work on the nut here. So we got 3 screws in here right now. What's happening is as he's tightening it up, it's pulling this bearing retainer down onto the bearing onto that shaft part of the armature. And then we'll have it set. And then we'll do the rest of it when we put the lock washer on and the nut. We gotta put the shims on too, of course. And then there's three screws like we have right here set up to install it. And then there's these 2 holes that are open, that are directly across from each other. That's for the end cover. So then that's why we know which ones we have them correct. So we put our shims in now, our 2 thin ones. And then lock washer and hex nut. We'll put a new lock washer on, of course, because you don't reuse those. And then a nice stainless nut, though. That way it doesn't get all corroded and stuff. Alright, we got the old nut on here. We're going to use that to pull the armature back. And hopefully we can hold the front while we're doing this. There we go. We got the end plate and shims all situated. What happens is, I don't know why they were shims on the outside here. Looking back at everything we were working on when we were working on this part, the print over here shows just the nut and a lock washer on the end to the bearing, and then it shows the shim right here, but it doesn't really point to how many you need or anything. But we have the shims in here just like we took apart a thick one and a thin one, and we left the shims out on this end. And it just needs a lock washer and a nut. So either we use this one and maybe just refresh it, but I want to put a new lock washer in, and probably a nut, because you know we're not supposed to reuse lock washers and stuff. And then we'll take these back out, put our third brush on, and go from there. There we are. We got the third brush on, and of course this is adjustable. And then there's a gasket that goes here that creates a gap. It helps create a gap. So when you put the end cover on, it kind of rotates between there. But anyway, this third brush is adjustable for output, and we just got to hook this screw up here, and then we're done with the wiring pretty much. But we can go ahead and put this cover on now. And you gotta line these holes up, because these holes are for the end cover, and then these lock it onto the thing, so on the generator. So we gotta find our straight across ones, which are this one and that one. Yeah, there we go, got it. And actually, yeah, and then this dome right here actually is for clearance on the nut and stuff hanging out. We did put a little blue Loctite on that nut on the inside there. You can kind of see it there.
On the lock nut.
On the locking nut.
Oh no, not this one. This one.
For that one.
And this one. What's that hole for?
That's actually a groove dimple, so it can guide along the third brush. There's one on that side. I think there's one over here too. Nope, just over there. So the third brush should still be movable. Yep, even when this is tight, hopefully.
I'd put it in the middle somewhere.
All right, there's far that way, and then here's that limit. So there we go. Something to do with moving this closer to the brush. The other brush changes the output. Yeah. Because the farther away. Yeah, amperage.
Amperage and both voltage and amperage.
There we go.
Those two screws.
There we go. We got it locked down now, and then we'll be able to finish wiring it here, and then put our end cover on, and we'll be done here. So hold on here. We'll be done in a minute or two. Here we are. We got the gear on. And we're ready to test this thing before we put the end cover on. So we're going to get set up here and get ready to see this thing turn over. It should. Okay, so we're kind of back at the beginning. We're going to test the generator now. So yeah, we don't need that yet. I don't know why. Yeah, we don't need it yet. So we're going to ground the case
and put it on the switch.
Yeah, switch. Okay, and then we're gonna take our barrier cables we have here, and we're gonna put negative power to the body.
If we can.
Yeah.
Here, let me get some damn wire up here for a ways. There we
go. Okay. And then, yeah, go ahead and touch that. Assist it a little bit. Make sure it does spin nice, so.
Okay, ready?
Yeah, it should spin.
At the left.
There we go. It's going.
This battery might be a little low on amperage.
Yeah, and I might have to assist. Do you want to try that just again, just to prove that I didn't have the footage showing it, but it should go, and you just. Yeah, there we go. It's working as a motor right now. All right, we're good to go. Let's put the end cover on and finish this up. Well, here we are. We got the 32E rebuild all finished up here, and it's looking great again compared to how it did before. We have a nice shiny end cover here. This is a stainless end cover. It's going to not corrode a little bit. Yeah, it looks still shiny. There was optional end covers. There was a black one, and there was chrome, and then there's the stainless one that came out. I think the stainless one was mostly on like the 49 pan and stuff from what I read, but The stainless one's probably the better way to go because of this. It's right up in the front where the wheel's at, and it's get all the rocks and all the grime and stuff. And this will just stay pretty and shiny for a long time this way. And this would be a nice functional generator with sealed bearings and so on. And we watched it spin, so it is really good. I would run this if I needed it, but like I said, this is for a friend, and I rebuilt it for him. Just wanted to show how it all went together and how it happened. Well, so finishing up on the generator here, I was going to go over a couple of things on parts. I didn't really mention part numbers and all that stuff on everything when I was going through it. But the main stuff we replaced, which wasn't a whole lot of stuff because, I mean, it was just, we lucked out. A lot of times when you rebuild generators like this, you require a lot of parts, and this one didn't really need anything much. We replaced the body screws, remember that? That was this main screw right here, this long one here. And that was a 30012-32. And you can get the 2-screw kit from anywhere. It's made by Colony, and it's a 2964-2 for that kit. And then this whole component part here of the terminals, they come as a set here. Of course, we used everything in there. Generator brush positive terminal screws with fittings. 2128-12. That comes with the main screw, the 2 insulators, the round disc type, and then the long cylinder type, and then an external locking tooth washer to help hold it all together, and then a nut to lock that all down, brass nut, and then a brass nut on top. That's exactly how it was back in the day. I mean, these Colony kits are amazing. They're just put together just like it was. And oh, the screws on the other side. I swapped them out. Got rid of the rusty ones and put the 2 new ones in there. I didn't need the nuts, but the kit comes like this. I ended up using that screw right there that was in here. This is negative brush holder assembly. So on that side, we got the 2 screws and then the nuts to hold it, and then the screw there. That kit is 2863-7. You can get that pretty much anywhere as well. The bearings. The bearings are kind of a little bit more difficult to find. You can use the original part number for like the front bearing. It was 1644-30. It's really hard to find it that way because they don't really go by that number no more. So the new number would be 9007. When you find that bearing, and if you don't want to buy, if you can't find a real nice good one, you need to find out what kind of bearing it is. It's actually a 6202 2RS. What we got in here is 2 rubber seals, and it was a premium high temp sealed roller bearing from FAG or FAG brand from Germany. Like I said, high temp sealed roller bearing. It's amazing. It would be really good. This gets kind of warm, so the high temp is really going to be helpful anyway. And the same with the back bearing. They're not the same bearing. The back bearing is a 1644-18. Original part number in the old days, and which converts over to 9005. And then, like I said before, any other bearing, if you can't find the actual Harley one or a decent one with that part number, you got to find out which one it is. It's actually a 6201 2RS, 2 rubber seals, and that's also the same here. It's just like that there, by FAG out of Germany. And it's just high temperature, premium roller bearing. It's going to be great. And then there's a couple of gaskets. Like I replaced this gasket here. You can find that in a lot of places too. 20138-30. And we replaced this nut and that lock washer there. I talked about that. And then on the end cap, when we put the stainless cap on, it comes with this is a V-twin part. Anyways, it comes with, it's pretty good stuff. It comes with screws, but they're Phillips screws and they're not quite the right style, so I don't like that. So I swapped them out with original type screws. This 1210, yeah, I thought that's what it was. Okay, I swapped them out because it's a slotted screw and you really can't find them elsewhere. Anyways, it's kind of makes it difficult, but the end cap cover, that's a 30137-32. stainless, and yeah, it's pretty nice. Look that up. You can find a stainless one of them, and there you go, or chrome or black, whatever you want to go with. But yeah, that's pretty much it for parts. I have this laying here. This is the shim kit, and then it holds onto the strap. This is a cadmium version. It comes in Parkerized also, but it I didn't need this laying around. But it kind of goes with this in a way, because you're gonna need to shim it and get the right adjustment when you go to put it in the motor. That kind of stuff, and then nice new hardware to help hold it down. So, hope you enjoyed everything here. I covered everything. Plus, we didn't end up switching out the brushes, because they were actually had a lot of life in them yet, and they were really good. And otherwise, that's pretty much it. Gear was in good shape. Yeah. All right. Well, anyways, we'll talk to you again soon, and I hope you enjoyed everything. And yeah, keep on lookout for more videos coming.